I think that oftentimes in the pursuit of looking for the optimal diet for a human being, we kind of forget to look from an evolutionary perspective, because we have come from something, and it makes sense that what our ancestors would eat or prefer the most, that would be the ideal diet for us, right? So when I followed the whole foods plant-based diet for about 2 years, I always thought about the evolutionary perspective, and at that particular time I thought that we came from apes, and that's the end of the story, because apes are herbivores, we must be herbivores as well. But when you see and actually consider how different our digestive tracts are between us and apes, you kind of start to get a different perspective. So is it actually possible that eating meat and animal organs was what provided us with this micronutrient dense food that allowed us to grow these bigger brains? Is that actually possible? If you're interested, stay tuned for the video, guys. And on a side note, welcome to another video, guys. Mate here from Be Optimal, and let's continue, guys. So our primate ancestors, and primates are, lemurs, other monkeys, and ultimately us, their evolution preceded ours for about 60 million years ago. But what we can see from fossils is that their brain size actually stayed relatively constant at about 350 cc's or cubic centimeters, but we'll refer to them as cc throughout the video. So it doesn't seem that eating fruits and vegetables actually helped us grow bigger brains. Unfortunately, as much as we would like that to be so, it doesn't seem like it was the case. So it is thought that actually our hominid lineage, and hominids are basically the biggest of the primates, like chimpanzees, orangutans, gorillas, and ultimately us. So our hominid lineage, it seems to have diverged from chimpanzees at about 6 million years ago, when in northern Africa, as a result of tectonic plates shifting, causing a change in the environment. Thus we came down from the trees and into the grasslands of northern Africa in order to look for more food. So the first one in our hominid lineage is called Australopithecus, and the fossil that we have is called Lucy. For Lucy, what is very, very peculiar is that it seems to have walked as a human, meaning it had an upright posture, but the brain size seems to have been just very slightly bigger than a chimpanzee. So as we can see from this graph right here, is that our brain size started to increase just slightly during the first 2 million years of our evolution. But at about 2 million years ago, something crazy happened. What that is, we don't actually know for sure, but we do know that our brain size increased dramatically. So the increase in brain size is actually correlated with an increase of the size of the neocortex and upgraded intelligence. The neocortex science shows that it is probably the part of the brain that has developed most recently, which makes sense, and also is the part of the brain that regulates hearing and sight in mammals. This allowed for better communication and much better group behavior. And what kind of group behavior? Well, we can speculate here, but one of them is certainly hunting. And this makes sense because, as we know, one human without communication, maybe today with all the latest weapons that we have, you can kill an animal by your own. But back then, if you didn't have a group of people communicating with each other, the location of other predators, what they can do, or simply having another one having your back, because you have only one spear, right? You have only one spear, and if you miss, you're donezo. And this makes a lot of sense because we as humans, we're not strong as other animals. We cannot brute force our way into killing an animal. We need other people, we need communication, we need a brain. And another very, very interesting point is that when you look at this picture right here, you can see the sclera, or the part between around the eyes, around the iris. In chimpanzees and primates, it is brown, whereas in humans this is white. What does this mean? Well, the brown sclera actually disguises where the chimp is looking, whereas the white sclera actually allows us to communicate where we're looking at a prey or at a predator, so that we can not alert the predator and still communicate. And it is very probable that this is actually a mechanism that allowed us, that we have evolved actually with, in order to be able to hunt as a group. So let's continue talking about what actually happened about 2.5 million years ago, where our brain size actually exploded in size. And what actually happened, we don't know for sure, but it is correlated with the inception of using stone tools. And what does this actually mean for us? Well, it seems that Lucy, or the Australopithecus, our first genus, actually they still ate meat, and that is why their brain sizes started to increase just ever so slightly, but they didn't increase dramatically because it seems as though they were still scavengers. So they actually ate the meat that other predators have killed before, and they only ate the leftovers. But because they didn't have other stone tools, they didn't have access actually to all of the parts of the animal. They couldn't eat the organs, the liver, and things like that, because at the end of the day, we do know that the liver, especially, and other organs, are the absolutely most nutrient-dense foods are on the planet, and no vegetable comes even close. And I know that this may trigger a lot of people, but that is just the truth, so you can do the research on your own if you want to. So when we actually started using these stone tools, we could make spears, we could actually crack the skull, so we can take the brain, we can eat the bone marrow, and we can, most importantly, just kill animals on our own, whereas previously we needed to rely on other predators killing them and just taking the leftovers, which obviously wasn't ideal. And once we had access to all this nutrient-dense food, it seems as though it was actually then when our brain sizes started to actually explode. And another thing that we can consider here is that the mobility of our shoulders, the fact that we can do this motion is not seen in any other primate or in any other animal for that matter. And this makes sense. Why would we need this? Because that way we can throw rocks, and most importantly, we can throw spears in order to kill other animals. And finally, what actually happened that made our brains shrink at a certain point in time? Well, one possible reason could be the development of agriculture. And look, I'm not gonna sit here and say that the inception of agriculture is all bad, because honestly, in my opinion, if that didn't happen, we wouldn't be here. I wouldn't be here, you wouldn't be watching this video, because with the inception of agriculture, we were able to take seeds and grow grains from it, which was easy calories, but unfortunately, they weren't as nutrient dense as animal foods. So what does this mean? This means that we would actually be able to live much more comfortable lives, thus we won't be exposed too much to risk from other predators and things like that. Thus we would be able to form villages and cities and things like that, which, you know, isn't all bad obviously, but I think that it is very irresponsible of us to ignore the fact that with the development of agriculture, with the constant ingestion of low nutrient dense foods such as plants, which most plants are, that our health started to deteriorate rapidly since then. This may be a reason why our brain size also started to shrink. Perhaps, we don't actually know, but it's a very, very interesting point. Guys, if you enjoyed this video, please put a like, put a subscribe, and hit that bell button. It means hell of a lot to me. You have no idea. This is a fairly new channel. I'm putting a lot of content right now, and I'm also putting a lot of content on my Instagram channel, so if you're interested, you can find the link in the description below. And yeah, guys, I hope you enjoyed it, and stay tuned for the next one. Peace out.